Hi guys, sorry to interrupt your video. Just a quick plea, subscribe to my channel please. If you haven't done it already, subscribe. Tell your friends, subscribe. Thanks. What should you do as you approach this cyclist? Well, I mean, he's at the front, he could go anywhere, he might fall off, he might stumble. If he's got one of those mammals, middle-aged man in lycra, you know, with the locking feet where they lock them onto pedals, he could get to the junction and just fall over. I don't know. So just give him room. Besides, if we pull on next to him, we might block his view. Anyway, try to overtake before the cyclist gets to the junction. No. Flash your headlights. No. Slow down and allow the cyclist to turn. Quite right. It's the decent thing to do. Rev your engine so the cyclist knows you're behind him. No. That just supplies pressure and harassing them, isn't it? Just be nice. Why must you take great care when emerging from this junction? Because I can't see. That's the problem. It could be a fast road, it might not be, but there's bushes blocking my view, as we see here. Anything could be coming, couldn't it? Could have a bicycle. Is the road surface poor? No, it's not. The footpath is narrow. No, it's not. Curbs are high. No, the view is restricted. There you go. I can't see. Anything could be coming at me, in which case, come in slow, first gear, creep, have a look, make sure it's safe in all directions before you emerge, and then off you pop. Right. What type of vehicle should you be ready to give way to as you approach this bridge? Well, we've seen this before. Right, now we've got a pavement here, so I'm suggesting pedestrians should be on the pavement. But I have an arched bridge. I have the white lines on the top, which is the widest part of the bridge for tall vehicles. So I'm expecting large vehicles to be in the middle of the road. So what type of vehicle should you be ready to give way to? Bus. Buses, yeah, because there could be a bus in the road, you know. And in fact, if we have a look here, we read this road sign. Oh, good heavens! Right, there you go. So this is saying there's a weight restriction of 7.5 tons, but there's also a height restriction of 12'6". That's the arrow on the top. If you had them on the sides, then it'd be a width restriction. And there's the black and yellow that I mentioned earlier in this fantastic video. Thank you. Lost the will to live yet? God, blimey. Goes on, doesn't it? Ooh. What's that? Right.
Sorry, did you say something?
Hello. Deja vu. Same picture. What type of vehicle could you expect to meet in the middle of the road? Well, in this instance, a lorry. It's still a high vehicle. I've just said why. Stop. It says stop. You must gotta stop. You just gotta stop. Right. So what must you do at this junction? Stop. Right. Stop behind the line, then edge forward to see clearly. Loving that. Stop behind the line at a point where you can see clearly. Well, you might not be able to see clearly behind the line. So stop only if there's traffic on the main road. No. Stop only if turning right. No, this is stop only business. Forget it. The law states you have to stop. Right. Now the only time they ever put a stop sign out there is at a junction where there has been accidents before, because it's got poor visibility, we can't see if anything's coming. So law states you've got to go to the line, stop at the line, because they want you to get as far up to the junction as you can possibly get, but without actually going into it, because that's likely to improve your vision. Then you've stopped, so you're not going to suddenly go ta-da out into a junction, and now you can start looking and you go into creep mode. But providing you have stopped, you're okay. On the driving test, loads of people fail their test for not stopping at a stop sign. Use your eyeballs, people. You've got a solid white line there at the end of the road. It says stop on the floor and you've got a stop sign. Stop! Okay? There. I've said my piece. Next. What should you do if a driver pulls out of a side road in front of you, causing you to brake hard? Right, well, this comes down to being... This is where your inner Mother Teresa kicks in, and you have to basically just ignore the error and stay calm. It happens. How many errors have you made whilst you've been learning to drive? Or will make? Yeah. Shit happens. So you've just got to go, okay, woof. Now you can either assume that he's an idiot and then get angry and then have a heart attack as your blood pressure goes through the roof, or you can just assume that he's made an error, a little mistake like you do when you're learning to drive. And you wouldn't like if somebody behind you suddenly goes, "Ray!" because you've just pulled out a phone. You'd be going, "Oh, I'm sorry, sorry." You know, so just go, all right, things happen. There's no point in getting into a conflict, because if he then gets upset because you got upset, and then it all escalates from there, it all goes horribly wrong. So just ignore it, stay calm. Right? Anything else, flashing your headlights to show annoyance, or horn, or overtaking, no, forget it. Just stay calm, chill out, man. Ching.
I'm so calm, my face might fall off. Wait, what?
How would age affect an older person's ability to drive? Right, so let's have a look. They won't be able to obtain car insurance. No. Of course they can. You get old people driving. They'll need glasses to read road signs. Probably, but not necessarily. They'll take longer to react to hazards. They will. That's why old people fall over a lot. One, because they're dizzy, so their control isn't there, but if they start to go, it takes ages for the brain to acknowledge the fact they're going, and then they just keep going, and boom, they're over. And they're lying on the floor before they've even realised they've started to fall. So their reaction time drops, and they won't signal at junctions. Well, you know, that's probably true, but that's just complacency. That's not because of age. So it's reaction time, and it varies a lot. Some people are still sharp, but generally they drive slower because their reactions aren't as good, and then they don't use their mirrors generally because they're just in a little world of their own, driving along, causing mayhem behind them, because they think that just driving slow is safe, when it isn't. Driving at an inappropriate speed, i.e. too slow or too fast, is wrong. Just thought I'd lob that in there, you know. Right, question 60. Do you need to plan rest stops when you're planning a long journey? Yes, you do. Driving miles tired is bloody dangerous. You might only ever drive once tired. There's the thought. Right. Yes, you should plan to stop every half an hour. No, that's a bit extreme. Yes, regular stops help concentration. I like that. No, and no. No. Rubbish. It's not the nose. You're going for a long journey, you should plan regular stops. Every half an hour is probably implausible. If I'm going around the M25, there are points where you cannot stop every half an hour. Just gaps between the stops are too big. But you should be thinking, when you start getting to about an hour and a half to 2 hours, you should be factoring in a stop sometime soon. Try to plan your journey so that you can take rest stops. It's recommended that you take a break for at least 15 minutes after every 2 hours of driving or riding. It'll help to maintain your concentration. There you go. As I said, 2 hours for about 15 minutes. Or have a kip. It's marvellous. Just sitting there, just even if you just close your eyes and chill out, man. That can start to rejuvenate you a bit. What should you do if the red lights start flashing as you approach a level crossing? Here we go. Well, we saw this level crossing picture earlier on. So what should you do? Red lights start flashing. Well, if the lights are flashing, the barrier should already be down. It's because the barrier should start to come down on amber, and then they will flash, and the barrier should be down already. But anyway, stop. Double flashing, well, flashing red means there's a train. Don't know about you, but if there's a train coming, I don't go onto that level crossing. So at level crossings, the red lights flash before and while the barrier is down. Before. Okay. At most crossings, an amber light will precede the red lights. You must stop behind the white lines unless you're already crossing it when the amber light comes on. Don't be tempted to zig around half barriers. Yes, you don't want to near mess with a train. You're approaching a crossroads. What should you do if the traffic lights have failed? Right. The traffic light decides who gets priority, and if the traffic light's not working, there is no priority. So logically, if anyone can go, I would treat that with extreme caution, you know. So brake and stop only for large vehicles. I'd stop for anyone. Brake sharply. Well, just then you could stop there. Brake sharply. No. You don't brake sharply when you come up to a junction. You take time. You cruise in so people behind you have got time to react. Be prepared to brake sharply to a stop. What is with this brake sharply? Right, be prepared to stop for any traffic. So if I'm trying to go out into a junction, there's stuff coming at me, be prepared for it, you know? I don't say, oh, I'll only stop for large vehicles. Obviously, you know, as I love having cyclists smash into the side of my car. Not. Right, you're following a slower moving vehicle. What should you do if there's a junction just ahead on the right? Okay, what they're getting at here is the highway code states do not overtake on the approach to a junction. That's what they're getting at. You are approaching a junction in this example, but you're stuck behind a slow moving vehicle. So they're thinking, is he going to overtake or isn't he? So overtake after checking your mirrors and signalling. Only consider overtaking when you're past the junction. Love that. And the reason we do that is because the vehicle you're overtaking might themselves turn, or another car could come out whilst thinking that the slow moving vehicle, they've got time to pull out, and then you go to accelerate. So don't go and put yourself in the middle of the road travelling at speed when you might have cars cutting across your path. So accelerate quickly to overtake before reaching the junction. Then you're coming into a junction at speed. Slow down and prepare to overtake on the left. No. You should never overtake as you approach a junction. If a vehicle emerged from a junction while you were overtaking, a dangerous situation could develop very quickly. Not that I can say it. Why are vehicle mirrors often slightly curved or convex? Right, if you had a flat mirror like that, any light would come down and then bounce straight back off. If I put a bend in it like that and I came down like this, it would go boing. Yeah, because it's got a bend. It would go like this. So what it does is, by having a bent mirror or convex mirror, it enables you to see extra wide, because any light comes in will then reflect back into your eyes, but from a wider angle. So they give a wider field of vision. Basically, light from a wider angle come in and then reflect back to where it started, which is your eyeballs. They totally cover blind. No, they don't. There's still massive blind spots. They just try to help the situation. They make it easier to judge the speed of the traffic. No, it makes it worse. They make the traffic behind look bigger. No, it makes it smaller. So they give a wider field of vision. Oh, there you go. Right, you're on a 3-lane motorway. Get you. How should you overtake a slow-moving lorry in the middle lane if it's showing this sign? Well, that's a go left. Well, keep left sign. So if you're following a lorry and it's got that on the back, you're supposed to pass it on the left. So cautiously approach the lorry, then overtake on either side. No. Follow the lorry until you can leave the motorway. No, because it says you should pass on the left. So use the right hand lane and overtake the lorry normally. No. Approach with care and overtake on the left of the lorry. Yes, that's exactly what you should do. So this sign is found on slow moving or stationary works vehicles. If you wish to overtake it, do so on the left as indicated. Be aware that there might be some workmen in the area, probably with a cup of tea.